Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, new details in the Amanda Johnson murder trial. We go over why the trial was canceled today. And the chaos in the House over for now. We'll go over the name of the new House Speaker and how many Texas congressmen voted for him. Plus, Gaza's humanitarian crisis worsens, the number of those dead coming up, as well as obstacles the hospitals now face.
We are tracking a big line of storms out here in West Texas. You can see it all stretching all the way down into the Del Rio area. That line is going to be rolling toward us, getting here sometime tomorrow morning. So tomorrow we should be seeing bigger thunderstorms rolling through the area, and I'll have all the latest coming up in a moment.
An Amazon delivery driver in San Antonio had a scary encounter while he was out delivering a package. You're watching 25 News now at 5. Good afternoon and thanks for being with us. I'm Karina Garcia. Republican Congressman Mike Johnson of Louisiana was elected House Speaker today by a vote of 220 to 209. Johnson picked up an important nod of support ahead from the vote up from Donald Trump. Johnson was the fourth candidate Republicans nominated to replace Kevin McCarthy. The Republican majority was without a speaker for almost 3 weeks. Far-right members had refused to accept more traditional speakers, while moderate conservatives didn't want a hard-liner. Now, every Texas Republican in the U.S. House voted to elect Congressman Mike Johnson to be the House Speaker. The Texas Tribune reported Johnson, whose district covers most of the state's border with Texas, won the House-wide vote Wednesday. Winning the support of the entire Texas Republican delegation reflected his popularity within the Republican conference. A pre-trial hearing for Fernando Colin Acosta Jr. that was scheduled for today has been canceled. 25 News Now weekend anchor Adam Seibel went to the courthouse where the trial was set to take place and has more.
Fernando Colin Acosta Jr. was expected to be here in court today, right here behind me at the Matagorda County Courthouse here in Bay City, but that pre-trial hearing in the Amanda Johnson murder case has been canceled. Matagorda County District Attorney Stephen Reese said that his office received word from the district court that all matters set for this week were to be rescheduled and that they're working with counsel on all affected matters, including Acosta's case, to decide on a new trial date. As of right now, no new dates have been determined. Acosta, the suspect in Amanda Johnson's murder, turned himself into the Matagorda County Jail and is now out on bond. That bond set at $500,000. On Sunday, April 18, 2021, the Matagorda County Sheriff's Office found human remains in a burned-out 2018 Ford Explorer and confirmed the remains to be of Amanda Johnson, age 38. She had 2 children. According to District Attorney Reese, Acosta is being charged with tampering with evidence and abuse of corpse and murder. This isn't the first time this trial has been delayed and pushed back. It was originally set for June 8th of this summer, and then it was reset to today's date, October 25th. So with today's cancellation, it will now be more time until this trial gets moving. Reporting in Bay City, I'm Adam Seibel, KAVU-TV 25 News Now.
With still no new trial date set, District Attorney Reese said that once a new trial date is identified and approved, they will be available on the Matagorda County website. And now let's take a look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez, who's going to join us now with a look at what's going on outside. Mac.
Well, first, I wanted to show you all the storminess of the big storm that occurred last night. This is a Hurricane Otis. Otis slammed into Acapulco last night, and the remnants are drifting northbound. So you can see how they're getting up into South Texas, and this will enhance our rain chance for tomorrow. So again, we have tropical moisture from the Pacific affecting our rain, and we'll be talking more about that coming up in just a moment. Karina?
Mac, thank you. The UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees has warned it is on the verge of running out of fuel in the Gaza Strip, possibly halting relief work. The territory was blockaded and was hit by devastating Israeli airstrikes since Hamas militants launched an attack on Israel more than 2 weeks ago. Hospitals are struggling to treat the masses of wounded with low resources. Health authorities in the territory say the airstrikes have killed more than 700 people between Tuesday and Wednesday. It's not clear how many of those killed were militants. A 22-year-old Amazon delivery driver is in recovery after he was attacked by a dog in San Antonio. KSAT reported this was at a home ready to deliver a package on the south side of the city when he was attacked. The dog had jumped the fence and began attacking his face, particularly his chin and the lips. The dog's owner came out and tried to stop the attack, but the animal simply wouldn't let up. Eventually, the driver was rushed to the hospital and the dog was taken in by Animal Care Services. The owner was issued 4 criminal citations. Flights have resumed at Houston's Hobby Airport after 2 private jets clipped wings when they were moving on the airfield. The FAA reported a twin-engine Hawker jet turned off a runway without permission and collided with another twin-engine jet that had landed on another runway Tuesday afternoon. It's unclear how many people were on board the plane, but no one was reported to be hurt. Flight operations were restored by Tuesday evening, but not before multiple flights were either canceled or delayed.
Everybody was frustrated. Everybody was not wanting to exit the aircraft, but we had no choice. 2
private jets colliding on the runway, I mean, that's unforeseeable.
We had problems all year with, first it was weather, and now it's this. It's kind of like we're not flying anymore, we're going to start driving.
The TSB is sending a 6-person team to investigate the collision. In this Texas constitutional amendment election, Proposition 5 would authorize the creation of the Texas University Fund. Proposition 5 would create a fund limited to $100 million to provide funding for eligible institutions of higher learning. Election day is Tuesday, November 7th. So here is your viewer poll. You can scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. The question is, how do you plan to vote for Proposition 5? Are you for it or are you against it? We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 6. And we want to remind you that Texans are voting on 14 constitutional amendments. Early voting runs through next Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and next Thursday and Friday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. You can vote at the Dr. Patty Dotson Public Health Center, 2805 North Navarro, Classroom A. And the Victoria Outpatient Clinic is temporarily closed for pest control maintenance. Appointments can still be made virtually. Operations are expected to resume on Friday, October 27th. There are new weapons this year in the fight against RSV, but healthy infants over 6 months of age may miss out on the new protection.
It's the leading cause of hospitalization for infants. RSV can lead to serious lung infections, even death.
The really jump for joy news is that this year we have not 1, but 2 products that can potentially prevent it.
But this week, the CDC is advising there are limited supplies of some doses of nirsevimab, which can protect infants against severe RSV. In new guidance, the agency is recommending doctors reserve scarce doses for babies at highest risk, those under 6 months of age, and infants with underlying health conditions that could put them at higher risk.
The shortage thing was not something we anticipated because we had been assured there would be plenty of supply.
The CDC also recommends doctors stop using nirsevimab for babies 8 through 19 months of age who are eligible for an older protective therapy called palivizumab. It has to be given once a month through RSV season, unlike the new shot, which provides 6 months of protection after a single dose. Dr. Sean O'Leary with the American Academy of Pediatrics says there's also a maternal vaccine that can help protect against this virus.
It looks to be very safe and effective, that can be given at 32 to 36 weeks gestation. And we're not hearing about particular shortages of that one.
O'Leary says the limited supply issues will hopefully be short term.
For this year, it is a bit of a scramble and it's a challenge. And honestly, it's a bit frustrating, but we're doing our best.
For Health Minute, I'm Andy Gaither.
Hi.
Here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca Wave. A rescue nonprofit called Hunter Hadley's Quest was created by friends and family of 20-year-old Hunter Hadley, who died on January 27th after a boating accident. And Calhoun High School class of 2024 is preparing for Fright Nights this weekend until Halloween. Plus, 2 organizations at the Calhoun County Fair Junior Livestock Auction made over $400,000. You can read these stories and more at the Port PortLavacaWave.com. The local food bank is running a little short on food in Port Lavaca, so the Port Lavaca Police Department is doing their part in trying to collect some food for the food bank. A bin is sitting in the department lobby, and if the container gets filled with food, then some prizes will be given away. The food bank only has certain hours and is closed on the weekends. This police benefit helps a lot because the station is open 24 hours a day, every day.
Go to the grocery store, you're going to pay a significant amount more money for items that you bought, all the time. So definitely there's an impact at the store, and sometimes, community and people in there need a little bit more help as far as that goes, and trying to make ends meet. And if we can do our part and try to get some food donated, hey, it's a win-win. So.
This is the first year that the Port Lavaca Police Department is helping the shelter, and they hope to continue to help in future years. Deputy Chief Mark Jamison celebrated his honorable retirement from the Victoria Police Department during a walkout ceremony. A walkout is when an officer walks out of the police station for the first, or rather the last time, to signify the end of a law enforcement career. Jamison first joined the Victoria Police Department in 1997 as a patrol officer and was promoted to Deputy Chief in 2019. He also served as interim police chief twice, and he is now serving as Chief of Police in the city of Weimar, south of LaGrange. For more on today's news stories, come to crossroadstoday.com. Read about the prices of homes rising in September. That's going to be under top stories. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. For now, former President Donald Trump faces an obstacle in his current legal trouble. Stay with us. Straight ahead on 25 News Now at 5, we'll go over the reasons why. Blind fifth grader gets a surprise from his friends. Former President Donald Trump was fined $10,000 for violating a limited gag order barring personal attacks on court staffers. The fine was issued Wednesday after Trump complained outside court about what he called a, quote, a person who's very partisan sitting alongside, unquote, the judge in the case, Arthur. Weeks ago, he had ordered all participants in the case not to comment publicly about his staff.
This was a trial should have never been brought, but if we had a jury, it would have been fair, at least, even if it was a somewhat negative jury, because no negative jury would vote against me. But this judge will, because this judge is a very partisan judge, with a person who's very partisan sitting alongside of him, perhaps even much more partisan than he is.
The gag order came after Trump made a social media post criticizing the judge's principal law clerk who sits beside him in court. Trump's lawyers say his comment today was about witness Michael Cohen, not the clerk. The off-duty Alaska Airlines pilot accused of trying to cut off a plane's engines mid-flight told police he took, quote, magic mushrooms, unquote, 48 hours before the incident. Joseph Emerson also said he believed he was dreaming and thought pulling the handles he was dreaming and pulling the handles of a fire extinguishing system would make him wake up. Emerson was subdued by flight crew members, but he attempted to grab the handle of an emergency exit during the flight's descent. The plane was diverted, where he told authorities he became depressed about 6 months ago. He faces 83 counts of attempted murder, and he pleaded not guilty to all state charges. A young boy is looking around and around in utter wondering at what he's now seeing. That's because he's seeing something for the first time in his life.
Jaron has always loved Legos.
Cowboys.
Which probably made it extra surprising one morning before school when he said this in the car.
Mommy, look at the beautiful sunrise. It's green.
Turned out Jaron is colorblind, and maybe the clues were there all along.
All right, can I get everybody quiet, please?
However, his 5th grade class at Glen Hope Elementary School never knew until the students were asked to name their favorite colors one day.
He mentioned some colors that were hard for him to see, like blues and purples.
That's when Ms. Hayes asked about those special glasses you hear about that can help people with color blindness see colors as vibrantly as most people do.
He said, "Oh, I know about them, but they're too expensive."
Jaron, will you come sit next to me, please?
But what Jaron didn't know was that his classmates heard that and immediately asked Ms. Hayes if they could all put their allowance money together and buy Jaron a pair of those glasses.
I really wanted Jaron to see how all of us see it.
No, they're his.
Darker. I think it's darker. Oh, now everything's like red.
In fact, the students pulled together enough money to get Jaron both an indoor and outdoor pair.
Is this what everybody else has been saying the whole time? This is more yellow, not green anymore.
And when he got home that day, the Legos suddenly made a lot more sense. Jaron! But all he could really think about was what his friends had done for him.
What's the bigger gift, the glasses or the message that your classmates really love you?
Honestly, I think it's the message. They were probably being the kindest people on earth in that moment.
By the way, Jaron's grandfather and great-grandfather are both alive and also colorblind. And when that glasses company called Enchroma found that out, they sent Grandpa and great-grandpa each a pair for free. There's just a lot of good in the world. In New York for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
Hurricane Otis has ripped through Mexico's southern Pacific coast as a powerful Category 5 storm, leaving behind a trail of damage in Acapulco before weakening. Video on Wednesday showed building damage, flooded hotel rooms with collapsed ceilings, and rubble and downed trees lining the streets. Mexico's president says there's main areas were all hit hard by Otis, causing extensive damage. There's no reports of anyone killed or hurt so far. Otis has weakened to a Category 2 storm. Here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Cuero Record. DeWitt County resident Juanita Peters celebrates her 100th birthday, and Cuero High School names Tyron Burley and Audrey Natardas as this year's homecoming king and queen. You can read these stories and more at DeWittCountyToday.com.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. We're fairly muggy out there at 84 degrees. The winds are still strong because they're all flowing into that storm complex out in West Texas. Managed to get up to 86, not exactly our 81 average high. We've only had 0.03 of an inch of rain out at the airport. That brings our October to 309 and 2867. Still, we're 5 inches below seasonal average, but we'll be talking about the heavier rain I expect around here tomorrow. And we'll take a look at some more video from Acapulco. All that coming up in just a moment. Welcome back, everybody. We did have a little shower activity around the area, but it was fairly sparse. You can see a few little leftover showers even at this hour. But we're watching out in West Texas where this big line all the way from Oklahoma down into northern Mexico is sort of organizing right about now. This is the bulk of what used to be the tropical storm. It is now beginning to move and it will be rolling across the state. Now, you can see how it's out here in the hill country, but it should be along the Interstate 35 corridor by midnight tonight, and then by sunrise should be in our area. We're going to get the tail end of it, not the brunt of it, but we will be getting some heavier thunder showers rolling through. I know you've been sort of dodging shower activity all week long. Tomorrow we may just say and have another cup of coffee in the morning because that's when I expect the peak of the activity. And then as we get into Friday, a lot of this should decrease and we'll watch and wait to see what happens for the weekend. Here's our overnight low getting down to the 70s, the 60s out to the west, and tomorrow again we'll be in the 80s one more time. I've got some video to show you of that massive hurricane Otis. Otis goes down into the record books, folks. This is Acapulco. The main drag right about there, and you can see pretty much every building was affected by it. 160-mile-an-hour winds. The storm went from a 1 to a 5 within about 24 hours. Never happened before. That's new, not only in the Pacific, but a worldwide record. I'm going to say, think about it. El Nino, warmer waters in the Pacific. 2, a lot of moisture, or rather heat still left in the ocean down there, left over from the summer. And so you push a storm on top of that volatile complex, and this is what you get. Pretty much every building I saw has been affected, has had some sort of damage. And of course, we really have not gotten a lot of data yet, information. We don't know if anybody has perished, and hopefully everybody was safe and sound and ready to go, but it was a big one. So the storm came ashore. It made a beeline right for Acapulco. You can see it right about there, and then it sort of fell apart here. You can see how, of course, there's a huge mountains here, 10,000 footers right about there, so a lot of the stuff, moisture stayed on that side. The remnants of it, the high level stuff, is streaming northbound. You can see how it's getting almost into deep South Texas. So that's going to feed into the line of storms that's moving into our region. And so that's why I'm thinking tomorrow will be heavier rain, 1 to 2 inch possibility as it moves through. So let's go through future tracker. You see there's the low, that's the old storm. There's our little front, there's our line of showers that'll be with us. And then after that pulls away, we get a little break Saturday and Sunday until the big one. Sunday night, big frontal system coming in. This is going to be a winter storm, folks. As a matter of fact, way up there in Amarillo, Perryton, up those areas, they're probably going to be looking at their first snowfall of the season over the weekend. Tomorrow we'll get up to 83 in Port Lavaca. We'll see additional heavier showers, as you can see right about there, getting up to 79 in Cuero, and here we go. Stormy weather, then decreasing weather, and then little, not a bad looking weekend. Then Sunday night, midnight, big front comes through and breezy and much colder just in time for Halloween, looking for highs barely in the 50s and overnight lows getting into the 40s. That is your 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Karina, back to you.
Thank you, Matt. Coming up next on 25 News Now at 5, we'll take a look at your stocks. Plus, Airbnb has a tool ready to crack down on Halloween parties this weekend. Taking a look at your stocks, the Dow down 106 points, the S&P 500 down 60 points, and the Nasdaq down 319 points. Oil up $1.55, closing at $85.39 a barrel. Airbnb is using AI to crack down on disruptive and unauthorized parties this Halloween weekend. The company says the system works to prevent certain potentially higher risk 1- and 2-night whole home bookings. The AI-driven anti-party system looks at hundreds of signals that could indicate a higher risk for a disruptive or unauthorized party, including trip length, the distance to the home, and whether the booking is last minute. The system is in effect across the country and in Canada. One of the state's fastest growing school districts is asking voters for $2 billion to keep up with the surge of students. You can read this story by the Texas Tribune on our crossroadstoday.com website. And stay with us. We'll take one last look at your forecast. Plus, an unexpected visitor spends the night inside a bank vault in New York City. Plus, here's a look at world news tonight right after 25 News Now at 5.
Coming up tonight, the breaking news from the House. Finally, a new House Speaker. Who is he? Also, former President Trump here in New York hauled up to the witness stand and fined. He suddenly leaves the courtroom. And breaking news from Israel tonight regarding this potential ground invasion and the hostages. We're next.
In New York City, a customer got trapped inside a bank vault and ended up spending the night there. The customer was accessing his safety box after 7 p.m. Tuesday when employees closed the vault door. Unaware the man was actually still inside. Fire crew said once the vault closed, it cannot be reopened until the next morning. First responders did try to cut through the vault's concrete wall, but they hit another metal wall. At 6:15 a.m., the vault opened on a timer, setting the man free after nearly 12 hours. He was checked out by a medical team before going home. 12 hours stuck in a vault. What do you do?
And he couldn't even use the dollar bills as a pillow, you know. That's the sad
they're
part.
Locked in. You're locked in for 12 hours. Your phone battery dies. What do you do?
You sit there with all the money and look at it going, I wonder whose that is.
Yeah, can't touch it, right?
No.
Alrighty, Mac. Well, this weather this weekend is going to be really chilly for Halloween, right?
Yes.
Which is something
Go ahead.
I'm excited for.
Well, yes. All you need to do is make sure the kids are bundled up for Halloween, because it's going to be rather windy and chilly. Now, tomorrow we expect some stronger storms. That's Thursday. Friday, stuff begins to pull away. Not a bad-looking weekend, but midnight on Sunday night into Monday morning, you're going to feel a strong north wind blowing in, and that's our Halloween front. It's going to be giving us high temperatures only in the 50s, so, make sure they have whatever they need to keep the ghosts rather warm.
Alrighty. Well, thank you, Mac, and thank you for being with us. We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6. World News Tonight with David Muir is up next.